Salut and welcome back! As always, I'm so happy, so glad to have you here watching this with me. I've built this forever ago. I feel like I always say that, but I've actually built this forever ago. So I'm kind of going to be experiencing this with you. Not for the first time, but kind of. It is a Georgian, a Regency Era Georgian. So it's a really fun build. It was really fun building this. It took me, I don't want to lie, but I think it was probably closer to 16 hours than to 13. Don't ask. I don't know why I chose those specific numbers. But yeah, I've sped this up a lot. So I would be very happy if you could give me some feedback on that, because I've made it even faster than I usually do it. So tell me if this hurts your eyes or something. And I've also cut out a lot of the landscaping because, as you might have noticed in the intro, this has crazy landscaping. Well, not crazy, it's just very big, because I chose this 64 by 64 lot in Wittenberg. It was perfect for it, except that I would have really liked it to be vertical. Would have been nice if there was a 40 by 30 lot in Wittenberg that is not parallel to the street that it's on. But yeah, I think this worked out fine. I just added some parts to the right and to the left from my original concept, which you're gonna see in a second. So I kept that part in the original concept, this really delicate, very planned out landscaping that is kind of the entryway, the big entry to, I wanted to say castle, it's just a house. It's actually quite humble, which sounds ridiculous if you see what I'm gonna build in a second. Yeah, humble is truly not the right word, but if you know anything about Regency times, then you know that this is basically humble. Which is really fun, I want to say. Building something like this was a lot of fun. So yeah, I've sped this up a lot and I've cut out a lot. I've tried to leave everything in that was special in some way or really added something to the build. I don't know, try to make sure that you wouldn't have to skip around or skip forward too much if want to say 40 to 50 minute video is too long for you, which I absolutely understand. So yeah, just let me know if you like this or if you would have liked to see something else or have some parts not be cut out, so I can make better videos for you. So we're still on this main house. I am building a little garden shed, kind of greenhouse sort of thing. A little later on, which you won't see actually, if I remember correctly. I think this conservatory greenhouse trend is a very Victorian era thing, so it started a little later, but I just wanted a nice looking place for the gardener to keep their stuff, because they definitely have a gardener. Like, no doubt this family has a gardener. And I kind of thought it was funny to imagine that the gardener lived with them, just because this place would probably need some intense upkeeping measures at all times to keep it looking like that. The Regency era times where families like this were very much about prestige, so that's why they would have this garden and pay for this gardener to probably be there at all times. That's what I imagined, at least. I'm not a historian, by the way, so please take my words with a grain of salt. But I did try to keep things kind of realistic. I wasn't really sure about how I wanted to approach this whole matter. I actually think that maybe they would have started building this house or having this house built a little before the Regency period, and then slightly renovated it to fit in more with this new appreciation for art and Greek and Roman architecture and values and all that kind of stuff. Because it is a little humble, which does sound ridiculous, so don't get me wrong. So I tried to keep it authentic because I thought maybe somebody's playing a decades challenge. Although I think the decades challenge is usually from like 1900 to now, right? No, I guess you can do whatever you want. But yeah, if you want to play a really, really long decades challenge and you want to start 20 decades ago, oh my god. If you're that dedicated, then you might like this build. But apart from that, you could also just have this be not set in those times, but in modern times. I have put, for example, a few oil lamps in, but only outside, if I'm not mistaken. So if this is supposed to be like a very well-kept, very old house, but in modern times, then those would make sense. If you want to play in actual Regency times, then you would want to take those out probably, but it's only a few and they're only outside, and I think everything else should make sense. I had to really focus on that, and obviously I could only work with what I had, so it's not perfect or anything, and again, as I said, I'm not a historian, but I've definitely tried to make sure that everything kind of makes sense. I don't think you're gonna watch me because I did cut it out, but I almost put a teddy bear in one of the kids' rooms. Like some absolute buffoon. What kind of clownery? No, I'm kidding. But I just remembered that those are named after Theodore Roosevelt, so that must have been much later. So everything kind of should make sense, from the children's play toys to the wallpaper on the floor and whatever. So, but again, as I said, I had to work with what I had, so it's not perfect. It's just my little try to get things about right and to portray this period in a fun way. So I'm actually almost done with the whole landscaping. I left this part in so you could kind of see what I did with the rest, and especially the other half of the lot that is already done. And then in a second, I think I do a little tour just so you can see everything that I've done in this speed build without actually having to watch me build it for hours and hours and hours. So I wanted this outer part to look very natural and then have it kind of be a play paradise for the kids, because I thought this family really, really loved their kids. They have a teenage child. Could be a boy, could be a girl. I was thinking a boy, which is older. They're not an object. Who is older, and then they have two smaller daughters. I was thinking ages 5 to 6 or something, maybe twins, I don't know, and they are the princesses of this family. They're adored by their parents and everyone else, and this lot is kind of made for them. So they have lots of places to play outside, but still very natural. It's just that they leave their toys around, and yeah, I was just trying to make it a cute, fun little place with lots of little details to find when you stumble around it. So this is the outside. I think it looks kind of grand, but not, as I said, in some absurd, humble way. But yeah, I thought it was very fun. And this is the gardener's shed that I was talking about earlier. It has a little table, a little space for them to rest. And I don't know if I actually finished my train of thought there earlier, but I thought this gardener lived with them. So there is a total of 4 bedrooms in this house. There's 1 bedroom for the child, for the daughters, which I hope you can tell from that they are very much loved and maybe a tiny bit spoiled. And then there's the parents' bedroom, which is connected to a toilet, washroom, kind of dressing room sort of thing. And then there's a bedroom downstairs, which I thought was for the gardener / nanny. I know it sounds weird, and it's a little off. I can admit that. But I thought maybe they just had someone living with them who cared for the kids and for the landscaping. If that doesn't make sense to you, there's another bedroom upstairs, which I thought, I made for a teenage son, potentially, or teenage daughter, if you want to go that way, which could also be for another staff member. Although I'm thinking you might have to change it a little bit because it's a little extra for that, I might think. But also I think this is a really nice family, and I'm thinking they treat their staff nicely and they're like part of the family. So yeah, you might have to change things a little bit if that's how you want to play. I've said this before, I'm not precious at all about my builds, so if you change anything or just play in it, I would love to see some screenshots or hear about your experiences. You can tell me right here in the comments or over on my Tumblr, which is honeybellabuilds.tum. Whatever. I hope you know how to use Tumblr. Is it .blog? Whatever. You can find me on there at honeybellabuilds and text me or tag me, whatever you want. So I thought this kitchen was also really fun. Oh my god, maybe they would need a cook. Ooh. I'm not sure about this. Maybe they just... oh my god, yeah, right. I completely forgot it's The Sims and you can't have lots of stuff anyways. But I think you can use your butler as a nanny, basically. So I think this is how I would do it. And just have them be the gardener, the nanny, the cook, and everything at the same time. So this is the kitchen. It has a nice big pantry with some wine storage because the Regency Era people definitely loved the fine things. And it has this kind of casual dining area for the family and whomever. And then it has kind of next to it, it has an official dining room, which is not as casual, but still very pretty. I wanted to keep this interior light and not as heavy as it can quickly feel especially because of all this fabric on the walls. If I'm not mistaken again, please don't take my word for any of this, basically. But I think they used to put a lot of fabric on the walls. It was a sign of wealth, and as I said, prestige was really important. So it can feel heavy quite quickly, also with those very heavy big curtains. So I wanted to keep it very light in color, and I think I did manage to do that. A lot of the rooms and accessories are blue. I think this was still when there were family colors, So maybe this family's color was blue. Just kind of to explain what I was thinking building this. And they do love music. I've made sure to put in some activities that make sense for the time period, but to also just keep your Sims a little busy if you want to play in this house. And of course you're gonna have to imagine that all of these lamps are candles, but I've also put in a lot of actual candles, so should work, I hope. Talking about things working, I've also play tested this, and I've just remembered that there is a laundry machine in this house. So yes, that part is up to date. As I said, I wasn't sure what anyone would use this for, so this was in case somebody would have a family here that just really likes the style and wanted to keep this house authentic to the period it was built in, and then just wanted some modern luxury, some commodities just for comfort. So this is the living room. The living room and the dining room and the entrance area are very detailed, very intricate, and they do have this kind of fabric on the wall that I was talking about earlier, brocade, because those are the places that the visitors would see, or whoever would come to propose to the daughters later on, or whatever. Court was really important during this time, so I wanted it to look very presentable, I want to say. And you will definitely notice that the other areas are a little more toned down. This is absolutely ridiculous. This I keep acting like this is, I don't know, this interior is somehow not screaming in your face. But yeah, you get what I'm talking about. Actually, my favorite room is the kind of spoiled kids' bedroom, the daughters, potentially twins' bedroom, which is the very last thing I've built. So make sure to stick around for that. I don't know if you've already spotted me doing this, or if I've even actually started doing this, but I make sure to leave some of the kids' toys around this house, because as I said, I didn't want this family to be the kind of stuck-up people that I think a lot of people imagine thinking about this time period. So there's lots of kids' toys just laying around, and I think I imagined they're allowed to play everywhere. There's also a little study upstairs, which would have been for one of the parents, both of the parents, and there's also some kids' toys in there, which I thought was lovely, adorable. So this is the laundry room. I switched one of those counters out for the washing machine that I was talking about to make it more comfortable for you, but yeah, you could just switch that back to a counter if you want this to use this in a realistic time period decade playthrough. I did not put in a dryer though, just because I love clotheslines and I love the Sims one, and I put it in all my builds. Oh, also, sorry, just remembered, I've put that bike outside, which looks modern, but it's my signature bike, and it needed to be put in, and it made sense in my head. I've also put in a few instruments. I wish we had some more in The Sims, but that was quite common, especially only for wealthy families. Women would often have to, kind of a luxury thing, but women would often learn how to play certain instruments, so they could also provide entertainment. So I've put in a piano in the living room, and then in one of the bedrooms that is upstairs, the one which I've coined the teenage boy's bedroom, or maybe he's a young adult, maybe that makes more sense. I've put in a few instruments, for example a guitar, and that's how I found out that guitars were actually quite popular during the Regency era, which is interesting because I thought they were invented much later, and they did look a little different, obviously. But yeah, that was a common instrument. And then of course the harp. I wish we had like a pretty harp. That'd be amazing. A harp in The Sims, I would love that. Also, we are nearly done with this bathroom. It looks a little more Greek, Roman, classical architecture inspired. And I think it's really nice, but we all know I'm so much into bathrooms. And then also, the next thing I'm doing is the bathroom slash washing room upstairs, which is this one. And I've kept in me building this little... Oh my god, what is this? I'm sure there's some French word for it that I can't remember, but I guess you can see what it is. Just so you could see how I did this, because I used a lot of the tool mod. And then I've put this little ballerina back there to make it look like it was holding the mirror, so as if it was just a standing mirror instead of the wall mirror that it actually is. And I thought it was a really cute detail to have this ballerina hold it up into something so delicate and beautiful that I would imagine fits for this lady. And then I've kind of skipped the rest of this bathroom because I literally just copied the objects from downstairs, and then I've left this part in so you can still see what's different and how I've changed it. I've also changed the colors a little bit, but as with the rest of the whole house, I've kept it very light and in kind of, well, earthy colors, and then blue. I've used lots and lots of light greens and light pinks as well, and then that blue color, which is also the main color for this not living room, it's a bedroom. This is the parents' or master bedroom, and it is also very luxurious, I want to say. This especially uses a lot of Félix André's Petit Trianon and some other set that I can't quite remember right now, but the Rococo for the walls, not right there in this room, but the other rooms. So this is why this tends to look a little French, although the rest of this is very British. But I think that's kind of fine, because this is not too far from when France was kind of the center of the world, and everyone wanted to look their home like it was in France. And that's where kind of all the trends and styles and stuff came from. Also, people started to really travel during this era, so I think it's fine. And it just looks very luxurious and almost royal, I want to say. So much for keeping this humble. I imagine it must be very cold in this in this whole place, because I've only put in fireplaces where there was also a chimney to go along with it. So there's a fireplace in the bathroom downstairs, the two girls' room, this master bedroom and the living room, but I think they would have some kind of heating system that would lead this heat through the walls and stuff. I'm really not educated enough for this. Or maybe they just, I don't know, heat up the whole house with those few fireplaces. I'm not really sure. But yeah, I love to imagine those places always in summertime anyways. So I love to act as if winter just doesn't exist. It's my favorite thing. This is the other, I mean, it also wouldn't have to be a teenager. I just realized that now that they quite often, I think, took in children of other people's families, or maybe their own families, distant cousins, whatever. I do not remember how I started this sentence. They took them in for some time, sometimes, I think, because traveling was really expensive and rare, and I think there was this sort of notion that it'd be very helpful for your kids to see other places, which is absolutely right. And if you were rich enough, I think you'd let your children stay with, as I said, extended family or wherever you could leave them for some time. I think it was also part of, I don't know, formal education, but definitely like very accepted part of education to have at least men, probably more men than women, travel. So according to learning about history and reading and literature, arts, architecture, I think they would travel a lot, and it'd be expected of young men, at least of the status that these people would have, to travel around. So this is the girls' bedroom, which I was talking about earlier. It was partly inspired by Marie Antoinette's bedroom, which was definitely way earlier. But I thought they would have loved this kind of princessy vibe, and it has very girly light colors and lots more gold than the rest of the house, and lots of toys. So also the trains, the model trains and model boats that I keep using, especially in this kid's bedroom, but then also in the rest of the house and outside. As I said, I left some of their toys around the whole estate. All of those were basically just invented, I want to say. Yeah, that's true. The boat is a steam paddle boat, not that one, the bigger one. And then also trains were just invented. So I want to say this family is very, very much up to date with modern inventions and discoveries and all of that sort of thing. But I guess it kind of makes sense. Oh yeah, this is me putting in the toys in some of the other rooms. And then also, I'm just gonna spoil this, I kind of failed to click record when I built the study, which is right next to this. So I think you're only gonna see the end and then a tiny bit of a tour for this study. I don't know why this keeps happening to me. Definitely happens way too often. I don't know. Ooh, and almost forgot to put in that dollhouse. I'm really glad I remembered to do that. And then lots of fresh flowers, and I think I go around putting a few bowls of fruit around in like multiple bedrooms. Oh yeah, this is the short little tour. Whoops. Also, the video tour is coming up. I've made it very grand and royal and pretty, so have fun with that. And see you next time. Love you. Bye.